this movie review is not going to go the way you think. Why? Because as much as we all appreciated The Force Awakens, I couldn't help but notice some similar plot points and scenes that looked very similar to past movies. At least The Last Jedi didn't feel like that too much, so... Hey everybody, welcome to Llews Reviews. So, picking up immediately after Episode 7, Episode 8, The Last Jedi tells a splitting story about the Rebel Alliance, led by Carrie Ann Fisher's final film performance as the beloved Princess Leia. Godspeed to you, Madam Fisher. And the other story follows our new heroine of the saga, Rey, and she finally finds Luke Skywalker, played amazingly by none other than Mark Hamill himself. And I'm sure we can all agree that we're all glad he reprised his legendary role. But with a fresh story, a lot of emotional weight, cool battle sequences, a lot of crazy twists and turns, and cool action sequences, and there's also a lot of humor and gags. Probably one too many gags to the point where I felt like I was watching Thor Ragnarok or Doctor Strange or maybe one of the latest Marvel movies. And I know it's not an easy task when you have split stories where you have the risk of favoring one story over another one. But nevertheless, I found The Last Jedi nothing short of epic. So for your viewing pleasure, I'm not going to get into any spoiler territories here, but I am assuming you're up to date with all the previous movies, including 1, 2, and 3 with Jar Jar Binks, and I'm not going to get any further than what we know from current trailers. Now, with that being said, I'm sure that you and me and everybody else that's seen this movie or is going to see this movie has a bajillion questions to ask. Mostly about Luke Skywalker. Where have you been? What have you been up to? Where the hell are we? Who are you now? Why have you been here? Who? What? Where? When? Why? Why? Also going into this, for me personally, I was wondering if I was gonna see similar scenes. Like, I don't know, maybe another planet-destroying death machine? Or trench runs? Because the only thing that I found in The Last Jedi to The Empire Strikes Back was one story was Leia and the Rebels, and the other story was Luke doing Jedi training. But that's about it, because when Luke says the line,
"This is not going to go the way you think,"
because the final outcome when the two stories finally come together, to quote Mr. Poopy Butthole, going back to Luke Skywalker, the movie does answer a lot of those what happened to Luke Skywalker themed questions. Like, why did he leave and what's he been up to and why did he exile himself? But I guess that matters the most because he is the title character and a lot of it is focused on him. However, a lot of the other questions, huge questions, have yet to be answered still. Specifically with the new characters. Like Snoke. Is he the Sith Lord that Palpatine was talking about in Episode 3? Because I do really want to know more about these new characters. But I guess that's just another story for another episode. As the answers from Luke slowly start coming to light as the movie progresses, I couldn't help but think about other sequels from other franchises. Like in The Godfather Part 2, where there's a juxtaposition between Michael Corleone and his father, Vito Corleone. And the Lord of the Rings sequels, like The Two Towers and The Return of the King, where the stories jump between Frodo and Aragorn. Even though these are split-storied movies, my interest between the two stories was very balanced. Heck man, even in The Empire Strikes Back, we had Luke training with Yoda, and then the developing love story between Han and Leia. If it wasn't already clear, yes, I was way more interested between the story of Rey and Luke. With that being said, I found the story with the Rebels, BB-8, Poe, Finn, the new character Rose, and Princess Leia. All great characters, but I honestly felt their story could have been shorter. There was a lot of parts that led to dead ends, and there were moments where I felt this person could have said this to this other person so that this wouldn't happen. Or if this person did that, this wouldn't happen. Because of this, I found myself way more emotionally invested in the characters of Rogue One. I also appreciated the humor of Rogue One just a little bit more. But if there's one thing that The Last Jedi has over Rogue One, it's porgs. whatever. But after getting through the first hour build-up leading to an epic second hour showdown, I can't deny that I had a huge grin on my face and I was really, really happy and enjoying myself. And for me, Luke Skywalker was my guy. I know that people like Darth Vader, people like Yoda, but Luke was my guy growing up. He was my hero. And by far, out of all the Jedi teachers that we've seen, Qui-Gon Jinn, Yoda, I found that Luke's definition of what the Force is by far the most profound definition or concept of what the Force actually is and how he explains it in the movie. Loved it. As opposed to midichlorians. I don't give a And with that being said, I was craving for Luke to have a moment, his own crazy moment to himself. And it didn't really sit well with me hearing interviews going into the movie because apparently Mark Hamill didn't 100% agree where Rian Johnson, the director, where he was taking the character of Luke. But by the end of the movie, I found that Mark Hamill did his best and finest performance I've seen him do on screen. As much as I enjoyed myself and I was happy with the end product, I will have to agree with Mark Hamill, it didn't go exactly the way I expected it to go. But still, I was very happy with it. With that being said, I'm going to give this movie 4 out of 5 porks. Is that one roasted chicken? Well guys, there you have it. I hope you liked this review. Go check out my other stuff. But don't forget to look down, like, subscribe, and you'll be good to go. And I will see you next time.